I give it a couple of seconds. Last week I started, and then I noticed that it cut us off at the start, but we should be okay now. Hello everyone, welcome. Week 11. We're 5 minutes late. We've been waiting for Mr. Bland to join us, but it looks like his work has blocked the site. So, Mr. Bland.
I mean, he's not actually meant to be working while, but they've blocked any access at the moment. So we've had a few tech issues, but no, Blandy's not working, and hopefully he's listening in.
Yeah, I think he's going to go and try and hook up another laptop or do something with his phone or something like that. So
see if we can hack into the ship's his control room and rewire it.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to wing the stats side of the show, but we'll see.
He makes stats up. He makes stats up anyway, doesn't he, Blandy?
Yeah, I think so. It can't be too hard, can it? It's just like 59.2 yards per average.
Shot a passer rating in there. They always like a passer rating, don't we?
59 yards after the carry, you know, that shit. What's the other one as well? B-op or something? D-op.
A-dot.
A-dop.
Dot. Average distance of throw, isn't it?
Is it? Average distance throw.
But anyway, we haven't got Blandy, but we have got San Miguel. Still Ratois
unfiltered. It's all right.
As cold as the weather?
No, today's been terrible up here. I haven't even walked the dog. Stuff it.
Too much. It's just not stopped, has it, all day?
Nah. I'll stop chucking it down.
It wouldn't be a good old British show without a bit of weather crap. We might even get a bit of American weather in, after last week's little segue into that, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, so for people who don't know, it's hot off the press if you want to let them know, but I made this little...
Oh, yes. So this is where we get our inside weather tips from.
Weather report.
Keep it in the family. Anth's long lost separated birth brother.
Yeah, our lad who works for ITV weather.
Must be a younger brother, like.
Shut up.
Definitely not a twin. Going.
Yeah, so we've just learned that it's been moved to Detroit.
Yeah, we were gonna get a what was it? A thunderstorm? No.
Thundersnow.
Thundersnow.
Yeah.
We've had one of them, have we, on a thundersnow? Very rare pattern. Yeah. But apparently not safe, so move the game.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people were panicking who they're going to play for the Bills or for the Browns. But
they do get these snow games, don't they, in Buffalo? It's you normally get a couple in the December, January period, and it turns into a run fest, doesn't it? You can't nobody can throw the ball, but even the runners can't get as many yards as when it used to. So generally, when you get those snow games, it's a little bit of a try and avoid it from your fantasy perspective, unless you've got an absolute stud running back.
Yeah, we're going to cover the Browns versus the Bills later on.
Okay, doke.
So we'll get to that, but we won't need any. We won't need our thinking caps on as such to tackle the snow anymore because it's been moved to Detroit. So just to confirm, Browns versus Bills is in Detroit now.
We don't have a Detroit weather report, do we?
We don't have a no.
We'll assume it's very mild.
First question of the night, Blurpy. 2 flex league. Should I trade Kamara and Alave for Adams and Gabe Davis? My running backs is Kamara, Travis Etienne, Cook, Henry. Bloody hell.
Got a little stable of running backs there, hasn't he?
Yeah. Pacheco.
I would be very tempted by the Devontae Adams Gabe Davis pairing. If you've got Kamara and Alave both on the same team, so you've got a little bit of a limit to what they can both do on a given day. So yeah, I think given that he's got Etienne, Dalvin Cook, and King Henry, I think Kamara is going to probably be the odd one out in that little group, isn't he? So yeah, I think give it a trade. Roll the dice.
Yeah, roll the dice. I think I'd do the same, but roll the dice.
Thanks, Blurby. Get us subscribing and keep listening, and we'll feedback in future weeks.
Yeah, cheers, man. So first things first, Baz. Buy and sells. Now, we kind of talked offline that this as the season progresses, it starts to get a bit harder and harder to kind of either trade for players or pick them up or sell players that you don't want no more. So, is any that you've kind of managed to pick out?
Yeah, I think trading in general, trading shouldn't be harder because people should be looking to make moves if they're behind the eight ball and making up ground. But there's no secrets anymore, is it? We've got 11 weeks worth of data. We know who's good, who's bad, what the usage is. There's no rookies who are probably going to break out in week 12, week 11, week 13. So, you're dealing with the facts, and you've got to just try and negotiate accordingly of who needs what. Pick on people who are desperate for a receiver or a running back or a quarterback or tight end, whatever it might be, and try and use a bit of leverage there. But I think, we've done a couple of sort of players who we think were available on the waiver over the last couple of weeks who can be those sort of second and third string receivers or what have you. And I think, Peoples-Jones we've done, and again, he will come on to him, but he's done well since we've tipped him up.
Yeah.
I think Kadarius Toney, again, we have a little bit of mention of him during the week to say he's available. If he's available, go for him. He had a good start with his Chiefs career, and week one got a couple of touches, and now they moved him in more involved last week. So I think there's a couple of buys out there we've given you some tips on in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, hot off the waiver wire this week will be Christian Watson, and again we're coming out to Green Bay, but if you've got Fab left in a Fab league, you'd be ploughing a good chunk into some of these players because there's not going to be much else going down the line, is there? But I think really the only ones I've kind of got a little bit on, people like Travis Etienne has probably had a bye week and a down week. Could you get him a little bit cheaper than what his value is? You're probably going to have to give up a decent-ish receiver. But again, if you're giving up maybe a Gabe Davis or somebody of that ilk who's a wide receiver too, but maybe a little bit boom or bust, and someone like Etienne might give you a bit more of a safe floor. I think Ken Walker again, didn't have the bestest of games over in Munich, but again, I think he showed enough in that he's a hot rookie. So again, if somebody's willing to trade or have got plenty of running backs, you think you can make an offer, he's one. I think Cordero Patterson again is one, again lower down the tree, who you could look to make a move on for someone. He's had an injury. I think again, the Falcons are going to win the games they do, but I think that last down week was probably really on the back of injury and then a short turnaround, so they're probably using quite sparingly. You'd expect him to come out and be the lead back. I think they've got a relatively good schedule coming in as well. If you look at them future games, that's Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh, Colts. So nothing.
So basically, what you're saying is try and cash in on these bad weeks that they might have had the last week. And
yeah. If some of the players in your league are only looking at the very short term, these guys are going to have some good longer upturn over the 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you can get a deal for them. It's a shame Blandy hasn't joined us here because there's a real deep dive. The Rams losing Cooper Kupp this week. I was going to mention Skowronek. If you can spell that one, Anth.
No.
I think it's SK. It's Skowronek. SKWA.
Got him.
Not a bad little hairdo, but he's one who is featured as probably the second or third back with Allen Robinson and done all right. He'll get a little bit more now that Kupp's not hogging the share. But the Rams are, if you're really, really desperate, you need somebody to plug in, he might be a little bit of a deep flex spot.
Yeah. Question from Profam. Thanks for the question, Profam. I have an offer for getting AJ Brown and CMC for Amon-Ra and Eckler PPR. Is it worth it? I have more faith in AJ Brown. Not gonna lie.
So it seems by some of the chat we get over the last few weeks that there are people offering plenty of trades, and not these sort of double treble trades. It's obviously is quite a lot of peril in them because the last thing you want to do is let a good player go and then you see them boom. But looking at that one, CMC, he's at the 49ers. We know he's going to fit in well there. He's done well over 2 weeks. A little bit of an issue whether they're going to really give him the sort of the volume that you might have seen at Carolina.
Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell came back this week, and I think they split the carries. I think Mitchell might have had one more. So they're probably thinking, well, we don't want to absolutely burn CMC out.
Yeah.
He's got great skill set. He can run the downhill sort of game, but maybe Mitchell's a bit more of a bruising back, and they'll use him for those sort of players, and maybe a bit more sort of pass catching on short routes for the CMC. But again, 3 touchdowns on debut. He's got those massive games in him. I think I'd be looking any deal that's got CMC in it. I think I'd be wanting to take it.
Yeah, I think so too as well, and I agree with Prafam really. I prefer Jay Brown as well.
Amon Ra's had those great games at the start of the year, but he's had injury. The Lions are very hit and miss. They might not have a tough schedule coming in, I think. And again, I think we're saying that there's probably CMC and AJ is probably the better end of that deal.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're on the right course, Prafam.
I don't think we're touched on the Lions, but maybe Swift again. He's one where he looks a good player. He looks like he's got big players in him, but he's not getting a lot of volume at the moment. He's had injury. Is he back fit? Is there some sort of mental thing there where he doesn't want to play when he's got a niggle? There's something in the background that's not quite adding up on Swift. But when you see the ball in his hands, he's got that. So maybe he's someone again you could get. If you want to take a bit of a risk. His recent numbers aren't great, but we know what the upside could be with him. So if you're wanting to give it up with one of your wide receiver 2s or something like that, maybe like a Juju or a Gabe Davis, that sort of player where they're not really going to score the mega points. He is someone who could score the mega points, but is risky.
Yeah. So one player we did make a short on, YouTube short on the other day was Paris Campbell. So let me get the stats up 2 seconds. But unfortunately, unlike Mr. Bland, I don't have him seared into my brain.
Yeah, he knows his stats like the back of his hand, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Forgets his kids' names, but he knows the stats.
So it was with Matt Ryan in over the last 3 games. Over the 3 games that Matt Ryan's played. Paris Campbell gets 93% of the snaps, 97% routes, 25% target share, 30 targets, 203 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 62.3 fantasy points. He's had an M3.
He's one of those players where you can probably pick him up for waivers or get him, for next to nothing. Then the big upside was Matt Ryan come back. That was a big change that no one really expected. Obviously, the coaching situation was a way out of left field appointment and the play callers and everything. Previous coach was a good coach. Obviously, not paying off. Had benched Matt Ryan and really gone for the rookie. But now Ryan's come back, so that looks like it's going to help the likes of Campbell and probably Pittman as well. Yeah.
One day, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced it. Which 2 do you guys like? Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Christian Watson, or Darnell Mooney?
So a lot of sort of mid-range guys there.
I'll tell you what, let's bring them up.
Let's make
life easy for us.
Yeah, we talked a bit on DJ Moore last week, didn't we? And he'd had that little bit of an uptick, and the quarterback's changed. So PJ Walker's been ousted, and they're bringing back Baker Mayfield. That's not good for anyone. But I think it's not particularly good for DJ Moore, is it? He's not very good, Mayfield, is he?
He isn't, is he?
He doesn't. He's not as good as he certainly thinks he is. That's for sure.
No.
He's got a lot of attitude.
So is Baker going to get the starting role again then?
I think they've declared Baker the start. Yeah.
That's bad news, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's bad for DJ Moore. I think they've just got no chemistry for whatever reason. He's obviously the best receiver on the team. Baker's not particularly good or accurate. So for much as we like DJ Moore, he's a good player. He's probably want to kind of hold back on.
Right, let's cross DJ Moore off. He's gone. DJ Moore's gone. He's gone. Forget about it.
That was a bit harsh. I would just maybe put you down like an absolute ruthless fantasy manager. Get on the wrong side of him, you're out. Cut to waivers. Poor man, he's got a family to feed. Amari Cooper again. We've talked about him a few times. Blandy did give us a nice stat on his touchdowns. He's an absolute homer. All his touchdowns come at home. Yeah. So again, this week he's got a very tricky matchup at Buffalo. I'd probably be getting off him a little bit for that reason. So that probably, by process of elimination, might leave the other two. Now Watson, we will come on to him. He's come off a hot game. It's still muddy in that backfield. I'm not sure you can bank on that level even week. I think his 3 touchdowns came off 4 catches. I mean, if he's getting 4 catches, some weeks he might not be getting double figures. So,
but his snap percentage obviously went through. But the previous games he got them concussions, didn't he?
Yeah, he's had lots of issues. He's a rookie. He was struggling to get up to speed. He's had concussions, other injuries. He's obviously there now. He's riding the crest of the wave. You're probably going to ride him for another week. So if it's this week, you're going to go for Christian Watson. I think Darnell Mooney's improved a bit recently as well. I think
the whole offense has improved, hasn't it?
Yeah. Since Fields, they've changed the offense and how they're going to run the offense, and by the amount of running that Fields is doing, it's opening up for the receivers, isn't it? Because the defense is going to have to. They're watching every move he makes. Fields at the moment, so there's plenty of space. Helps the offense for the throw. So I think Mooney's coming back. So I think of the question, I'm going to go for this week Watson and Mooney.
Yeah, fair enough. Next question from Big Trev. Nice to see you, Big Trev.
All right, Trev.
Hi guys, I've got a tough one. Need 2. DPJ.
Peoples Jones, who we've kind of give a bit of a big up.
Yeah.
Thielen, who we've previously given a bit of a nose down, although he'll have had a decent enough game last week.
Yeah, the thing about Thielen is he's obviously got the Hawkinsons there now.
I think Thielen this time I think you can bin Thielen off.
Yeah.
Rondale Moore, we like him, don't we?
We do.
Question about quarterback, but it didn't seem to matter too much last week. Got plenty of action.
Tony. The thing about Tony, I think we're going to cover the game eventually, but the Hardman didn't practice today.
Yes, he's benefiting at the moment from no McCall Hardman, no Marcus Van der Scantling, isn't he? But again, that might continue this week. So Tony and
Juju as well. Juju got that absolutely smashed.
Really bad one, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't see. I would be banking on him being back this week. So maybe Rondale and Tony would be the play out of there. Like I say, DPJ, Donald Peoples-Jones, safe. But if you're looking for that potential upside, you need a bit more out of your receivers again. Take the risk on the players. Moore and Tony, I think we're going for.
Yeah.
Thanks. Locked him in. Thanks, Big Trev. Give us a subscribe. Let us know how we get on. Same for you. One day, we've commented about the weather. The Bills Browns. We mentioned at the start that that's moved, so that does help them players. Hit the subscribe button, guys.
Let me catch up.
So we're going to go on to our first game then, are we?
We are, mate. Yeah. The first game is the Titans-Packers.
Titans-Packers, Thursday night game. Staying up for it? We say this every week and we never stay up. Staying up for it?
No, we don't, do we? No.
It's a good one, though. I think it's a good one. It's a big game for the Packers. They'll, again, like we said about Christian Watson coming off that great win last week. Overtime wins are always good. But again, a good win to break that 6-game losing snap.
Yeah.
4-6 the Packers keeps them just about in the hunt. I think again it is a big game for them at home. If they can win this as well to get to 5-6, it keeps them still in that playoff hunt. And I think they go to Philadelphia the week after. So they've really got to win tonight's game or at Philly. They can't afford to go 4-8. They're probably dead and buried then. So they've got to win one of the two. This is probably the best chance they've got. They will be confident. They will be buzzing after that last week's win. So yeah, I think this is making for a good game. And again, the Titans are that team where all the pundits like to sort of pick on them a bit, don't they? They were the number 1 seed last year. Apparently the worst ever number 1 seed, but they earned it by the wins. There were a lot of people tipping them to not make the playoffs this year. They're 6-3. They're in control of that division. The Colts aren't going to do much. The Jags aren't doing much. Texans are tripe. So they're going to be playoff bound, you would imagine, the Titans. And as we've said, very, very good coach. Seems to coach very well in underdog situations. A couple of weeks ago against the Chiefs, they played the Chiefs very well and limited them. So this will be a tight game, I think, and a good one.
Right.
We haven't always had on a Thursday, have we? We've had
No,
some
we
blue
haven't.
ones.
No. What's the weather like in Green Bay?
I guess I would say cold. Night game, mid-November.
Oh, -2.
Yeah.
And it's snowing, you know.
Is it?
I don't know how heavy.
Obviously, Green Bay are used to that, aren't they? You know, they're used to playing these games in November, December, January in very, very cold conditions. And maybe it gives them that bit of advantage that they need and want.
Yeah.
You know, again, just going back to the Titans, they don't have a lot of fantasy relevant players, do they?
No, do you want to start with the Titans players, eh?
Well, there's no certainly. If you've got the Packers up, we'll go with the Packers.
Either or, I'm easy.
We'll go with the Packers. It was just really a comment to say that the Titans aren't the most fantasy heavy team because they haven't got a lot of stud players other than King Henry. But again, if we talk about Packers, Christian Watson, as we mentioned earlier, he's been the big guy for the waivers this week. If you've had loads of budget left, you've probably spent a good proportion on him because who else are you going to get? He's had that 3 touchdown week. I'm not sure he's going to sustain that level. I'm not sure he's going to sustain multiple touchdown levels. He looks like he's the guy for the deep threat. He's got some speed, hasn't he? I think that if you watch that game against the Cowboys, there's a couple where he just burnt them. I mean, some of the throws from Rodgers were, I think me and you could have caught them, but we probably couldn't got on the end of the route to be that catcher. But
well, going into the game, that was the question mark, wasn't it? Could he catch? I think he's obviously athletic, but is his hands there? Obviously, the last game he's proved that he can.
He's a raw rookie, isn't he? I think that's what we've said. Blandy said previously. He's raw. He's not from a big college, North Dakota State. He's probably not got that big game experience at college level. But he's got physical attributes: speed, power, pace, height. I think he towers over some of the corners and safeties. So it's just that muddiness of the backfield of the receiver group at Green Bay, isn't it? Randall Cobb's back tonight, who is one of Rodgers' favourites.
Yeah.
Lazard is another player we've spoke about in terms of he's quite safe. He's safe from a fantasy perspective because he gets those, teens points. He doesn't get the volume, but he's got safe hands, and Rodgers trusts him in sort of clutch plays, doesn't he? He goes to him because he doesn't drop it too often.
Yeah.
But he's never going to be a double-digit target guy, I don't think, on a regular basis. So across the three of them, I know Dubs isn't playing at the moment, but he's another guy who's looked impressive at times. It's quite muddy on that receiver, and there's quite a lot of mouths to feed. And I think against the Cowboys, they were quite run heavy, weren't they? And I think that's probably just because they were playing the Cowboys and get a lot of pressure on. It was get the ball moving to Dillon and Jones, what we thought they would have done earlier in the season, but it worked very well from last week.
Yeah.
So I think if you've spent your money on Watson, you're going to have to give him a go.
Yeah. Try and ride that wave.
Yeah. Where are we?
Chase them points.
Where are we on Aaron Rodgers himself then? Where do we see him as a quarterback? Last year he was the MVP. He had quite a good fantasy year last year. This year, with no Davante Adams, they are leaning on the run game at times. They certainly did last week. So even in a 3 touchdown game that he threw to Rodgers, he didn't put mega points.
No.
He's a bit of a outsider quarterback from the top 10 or 12 in your league. You're not necessarily going to be, despite obviously all his talent, from a fantasy perspective, he's not really pulling the trees up, is he?
No, I think it's just it's kind of just a safe floor, isn't it? If you main quarterbacks out for the week or whatever, then you can kind of just shot him in and hope for 16, 17 points.
But would you draft him or roster him or keep him now? Unless assuming you're not a Green Bay fan, would you be wanting Rodgers on your roster?
Personally, no.
No.
You?
No. Like I say, he lost 6 games in a row. And he's had quite a lot of interceptions in some of them games, so it's just tricky. Let's say MVP last year, very good player, just doesn't necessarily do it on a fantasy level, and that might be a factor because of who he's got to throw it to now, and like the run. Aaron Jones is the best player on the team offensively. Was a great running back, and Dillon had a decent game last week after he hadn't had much going of late. 6-game losing streak. So
He's got the most touchdowns in the division, doesn't he?
Is that so?
I think so. Yeah.
Is that fax coming from Blandy there in the background with that on? Or?
Just an earpiece there. No, I think I've seen it on Twitter. I might have been from Mr. Kev Wake.
He was certainly he's certainly thrown more interceptions this year than he normally does as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. So you're playing Watson, you're playing Lazard, aren't you?
I think so. Like I say, given as a flex wide 2 or wide 3, if you're short now, I think Lazard gives you something. He doesn't give you a massive upside, but he's quite safe. If you spent the money on Watson, what you're going to do is spend him and bench him. It's a bit of a waste of time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tonyan was one there. If you flicked onto, had a great season last year with a lot of touchdowns, just nothing this year. He's doing a lot of blocking or whatever else in different schemes. He's not getting targets, not getting touchdowns. He's going to be on your waivers, and leave him there.
Yeah. And this backfield is God. Every week I've moan on about it, but so apparently the Titans are good at blocking the run. However, they're not good at blocking the passes to the running backs.
Okay.
Which will play perfectly into Mr. Jones's hands, I think.
Yeah. Fantastic player, Aaron Jones. So he can do it all.
To be fair, if you've got him, you're playing him anyway, so it's not going to be
regardless.
There's not going to be any nuggets of information from us saying, "Oh no, you have to play Aaron Jones because you're going to play him anyway."
Yeah, but you've got to say you've got to call a spade, haven't you? And he's good.
Dylan, I just crossed him off there. Dylan's fucking useless.
He had somewhat of a comeback game last week. Again, I'm not sure which way. He peeled off a couple of good runs from. I watched the game and it looked like he had a bit more zest about him. Where that was, whether he's one of these ones where when the team's not going particularly well, he's not going well. When the team's on the up, he sort of mirrors that form.
Yeah. Disappointing season. Disappointing.
If you draft him, you'll certainly be disappointed with him, and you'll probably played him and cursed him and maybe benched him at some point.
Yeah. On to the Tennessee Titans. So we'll have to start with Nick, aren't we? After last week, it's 2 touchdown week.
Yeah.
119 yards, 28.9 points.
Superb. I mean, did you see
where did it come from? No idea.
Well, I think there was I think again on our Twitter there was a bit of conversation, wasn't it, with some guy saying what some sort of analyst saying who surprised you most, and I think Blandy had gone back to his college lines and said this guy's never had these yards, he's never had 100-yard games even in college, so this was a surprise.
Yeah.
I watched the game back, obviously against the Broncos, and one of his touchdowns was a lovely little flea flicker. So into Henry, obviously drew all the defense in because obviously Henry, when he gets it, you feel like it's genuine because he normally hammers the run. Back to Tannehill, and I think it was a 63-yard. He broke a very weak tackle, but it just caught them all on the hop. So that one touchdown, 63 yards, really inflates his figures, but it was well earned, well deserved, and I think he is the go-to guy. I think at wide receiver. I know we've talked a little bit on Treylon Burks before, and again he looks a promising rookie, but he's not quite there yet. And after a good week from Westbrook-Akini, I think he'll keep that volume of targets, won't he?
Yeah. Question from Michael. Thanks for watching, Michael. Please sub if you haven't already. Needed a wide receiver really bad after cup injury and wanted an upgrade over Kyler, so I traded Kelsey and Jeff Wilson for Joe Burrow, CD Lamb and Cole Kmet. Thoughts? So I don't think it's a question. I think Michael just wants a bit of reassurance that he's made the right decision.
So a little pat on the back and say, well done, Michael.
Yeah.
Again, like we talked about at the start, if you need a wide receiver, you should be going out and getting them. He's done a sort of a 2-for-3 trade, hasn't he? So he'd give away Kelsey, who was an absolute stud. Jeff Wilson, yeah, hit and miss.
We like Jeff Wilson, though.
But he's not a nailed on RB1 or anything, is he? And then Joe Burrow again is a good player. Probably top 6 or 7 quarterback. CD Lamb, blinded game last week. I personally really like CD Lamb. I think he got the volume last week at about 15 targets.
Yeah,
but he's very talented. Lots of them your favourite yard after the catch. And Cole Kmet is one you've liked a bit, haven't you, Anth? You know,
Yeah.
Cole Kmet?
Yeah, I love Cole Kmet before the season. I drafted him and everything, Cole Kmet. And then you can see at the start of the season did bot all. But now Fields has got his act together like we touched on before. Kmet's coming to his own now. These last 2 weeks, he's been spot on.
The problem Michael's going to have, though, is he's give away his absolute lock tight end and Kelsey, and he's going to have to play the sort of tight end roulette now, isn't he? So,
well,
so he's got Kmet, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got Kmet now, so he can easily play Kmet every week now.
You can for now, but he still might have his downtime, mightn't he? He's still got to maybe keep an eye on other tight ends, I think. Hopefully he keeps those 20-point weeks going, but I wouldn't be convinced it'd be forever.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got a comment. I've got comments coming in on different things as well.
Are we getting hit up all over?
Getting hit on different things, yeah. So Michael, answer. Well, it's not your question. You've done it now. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, you've got plenty of upside there. Joe Burrow and CD Lamb and Cole Kmet. So yeah,
if it goes wrong, don't beat yourself up. The world keeps turning.
Just try again next time. Come back next year.
No, but I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
So are we moving back on to the Titans?
Yeah, let me 2 seconds. I've got questions. No, I've got a question now. I've got a question here. Can I drop my round 1 pick Najee to waivers?
Well, I mean, waivers is harsh. I mean, that's the sort of harshness that you've been demonstrating earlier. I think you want him on your bench. I don't know if you want to give someone else the chance to get the upside if it ever comes. Well, depending on what else you've got on your bench, but yeah, I wouldn't be putting on waivers.
No, personally, I'd keep him. Yeah.
You'd get something from a trade, not very much, but you might as well try and get a trade out of somebody, might you? And waive him.
So the problem people are going to have with Nick Westbrook-Akini, right, is if someone had him, which they probably wouldn't have last week, they might have picked him up this week. They're chasing these points.
Yeah.
So are you playing him this week?
You would like to think you've probably got better options. If you're absolutely desperate, and he's that, certain leagues have very deep, 3 or 4 receivers and flexes. He might be one. I still think there's probably better out there. So I'm probably not. Keep it. If you've got him, keep him on your bench, because, like I say, if he does back it up with a good week this week, then he might be one to start. Again, Burks, we said someone to bench to hope he comes good.
Yeah.
I think, you've been holding for a long time on him with nothing. If you've kept him, you've had to do very well to get week 11. So yeah, maybe keep Akini on your bench and just see if he has a good game this week, and then a bit more confidence on the back of 2 good games rather than that, like I say, chasing the points. The cat running around the chair chasing his tail doesn't always end well, does it?
No. Treylon Burks, to me, he's just like a stash on a dynasty roster, and then hopefully the Titans can sort themselves out a bit next season or the season after. And
I think it was on the back of the fact that they don't have a lot of good receivers at the Titans, and he's a rookie who's got promise. He's of an AJ Brown type, big build, big bodied, powerful. Mm-hmm. So they were hoping that he could slot into that role quite quickly. Robert Woods has done next to nothing, has he?
Nah.
He's someone who wants to be cast away.
I think we spent too much time on this lot.
Yeah. Defense, though, is a good one for the Titans. Defense is a good pickup. I think they're up there. I think, again, some numbers on the defense. They've kept a lot of teams to under 22 points. I think they've kept teams to under 10 or 11 points in the last few weeks, other than the Chiefs, 3 out of 4. They've got 6 sacks and a lot of pressure on the Broncos. Obviously, Broncos aren't amazing, but I think the Titans' defense, if they're out there, is one to have a go
on. Next question. These questions are beauties, man. Cheers, Lockout Official, for your question. In my Dynasty League, I'm competing for the top, and I have Cup, I need a piece to replace him, and someone offered me Derek Henry and Foster Monroe for Cooper Kupp, Cole Kmet, and a 2024 first.
Oh, this is a tricky one. And Dynasty Leagues makes it even a bit more tricky, doesn't it? There's obviously, before we even look at the numbers and the players, there's a mindset here. Are you in the mindset of I want to win now, or are you in the mindset of I've got to keep the best squad because I want to be chance myself this year, but I want to be in the hunt again next year because I've got a lot of the same players will be good players. Kupp's going to be, if he's out this year, he's going to be a good player next year. He's not going to turn bad all of a sudden. So it does depend on your attitude. Are you all in to get the glory now? So he's a win now guy. He's saying if you're a win now guy, you're getting relatively well paid now in terms of Derek Henry. He's going to be straight in there. Foster Moreau's doing all right as tight end, but again, if it's Cole Kmet's in there, you're gonna probably start him ahead of Moreau. And a 2024 first, again, you don't know what that's worth at this point, do you? It could be the guy trade with could have last pick, he could have middle pick. Don't know what the draft market's gonna be like. You do generally get someone. If he's got Kelsey already, saying there, you're probably not bothered about another tight end then, are you?
He's got Kelsey there, yeah. He's got I have Kamara, Jeff, Devontae Adams and Kelsey on that team.
Yeah, it's no wonder he's towards the top. He's got some very good players there who obviously kept themselves fit most of the season. So, yeah. What would you say? What's your advice on that one?
Yeah, I like that gamble. I want that gamble. Fucking go for this season. Get Derek Henry in there and fucking go for it.
The old Derek Henry gets going in the winter crack. That could tempt you in, couldn't it? He seems to do better in the back half of the season. He didn't have a good week last week. I know we're talking about the Titans at the moment. He didn't have a good week last week. The Broncos are a relatively good defense, but he's still getting that 20 touches. He'll come against some weaker defenses, and he will get those 100-yard games, 2 touchdown games. He'll get those 20, 25-point games, you would think. And he can always have that absolute berserk game where he just crushes a really weak defense and gets 150 yards and 2-3 touchdowns. So the gambler in me wants him to go for it. I think the safe play in me is saying keep Kupp and live to fight another day. But yeah, it's a 50-50 split there. Lockout.
Well, I don't know.
Derek Henry's not got. Again, it depends on how long you want to play Dynasty for, doesn't it? He's not got loads of years in it. I don't think Cooper Kupp's particularly young or old. I think he's middle of the pack, isn't he?
Yeah, the thing is with the fantasy and thing is with Dynasty as well is you could go, right, I'm just going to keep my best squad and keep Kupp. And you might miss out on this season. And then something happens next season and you're not in contention again. It's kind of like you have to grab the bull by its horns and maybe this is the time.
I think, say if he's win now, it gives him a better chance to win now. And if he's getting the first round of next year, you can pluck a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson out of the first round, and you've absolutely replaced Kupp in one fell swoop, haven't you? So
yeah, that's a good point from Lockout there at the end. He may have another good year left too. The thing was Derek Henry. We've been writing Derek Henry off for the last 6 years.
I haven't been. People have been.
And he just keeps going, doesn't he?
He nearly went back 2,000 years. It was only an injury that, if he was on the hard years, which would have been absolutely off the charts, the best running back performance over that period that there's ever been. So I'm still a big fan. Yeah, he's getting older. Yeah, there's injury concern, but once he gets that little bit of a yard going, there's no stopping the man, is there? Yeah,
it's just such enjoyable to watch, isn't it? I love it. Once he gets going and
if he gets 2 or 3 yards in space, he's very, very tough to stop.
I love it. The thing is, as well, with being a Henry owner, which I've been in the past, is it's just a nice feeling. You've got a good set of gifts. You've got a good set of gifts there as well. So he's got loads of gifts, Derek Henry, and the
cheeky photo with a king on a crown on his head.
Yeah, and then when you've got that player and he smashes someone on red zone or whatever, or whenever you're watching the game, it just feels more. I love it. Yeah, I'd do it, mate. Fuck it.
Yeah, in fact, if you factor in the gifts, then probably you're gonna get some real satisfaction out of beating your mates when Henry pulls the touchdown out the bag later on, and you can hammer him with them gifts. That's got a lot of value with that, hasn't it?
Yeah. Not a bad playoff schedule for him either.
No, like I say, generally comes better in the second half of the year. That's been his form in past years, hasn't it? So if you bake that in. Are we moving on to the next game?
Lockout. Thanks. If you haven't subbed, please sub.
I think he did.
You sound like you know your stuff. You might get a place on the podcast if you want it.
He could join one of our leagues next year, couldn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. So we run a fantasy league. So next year we'll be opening it up to more people. So please.
Yeah, stick around and we don't want too many good players, man. If you're a bit of an amateur, you join us. But if you know your stuff, maybe look elsewhere.
Yeah. Right. Next one is the Browns Bills.
So we've already mentioned the old.
Hang on. Hold your horses.
Oh, come on! Hurry up with your headers. There we go. We've mentioned the Thunder Snow. The fact it's moved to Detroit. We covered that earlier. We won't go into too much about Thunder Snow. This is not a weather podcast, is it? Despite the if you want to bring the weather foot up again,
despite the connections,
if you want to bring the weather foot up again, free while we're talking about the Thunder Snow. But yeah. The 3-6 Browns against the 6-3 Bills. 6-3 Bills. Who had them there, eh? Back-to-back defeats.
Absolute killer last week.
I know yourself's a big Bills fan, aren't you? Or big on the Bills this season, and they're capable of winning any game, but they're possibly not going to be going in with the number one seed if they don't sort of.
They just seem to be finding ways to throw games away.
It's very strange that sort of play where they conceded a touchdown for fumbling or getting tackled in the end zone, wasn't it, at the end of the game?
Yeah.
I know they're talking commentary about
like a missed snap,
taking a safety and things like that. I mean, teams do it. It's probably a hard call, but yeah. We thought the Bills would probably be a bit better. And Josh Allen, he's thrown a lot of interceptions recently. There's a lot of quarterbacks who get a bit of stick if they throw an interception hero there. He's had a couple of bad ones recently, Allen.
Yeah.
He's not a bad quarterback. He's still very, very good. But you want these quarterbacks to be in that form, like you've seen, like the Rodgers, the Bradys, the Mannings, the Drew Brees, where they're just absolutely dialed in and they just need every throw. The ball's always under control. He seems a little bit off at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, fantasy-wise, if you got Josh Allen, you're playing Josh Allen, doesn't?
Yeah. I'm just talking generally about his form. We're expecting a bit better from him.
A bit more, yeah. Like some parts, it reminds me of his first couple of years in the NFL, where he'd have really good games and then do a couple of daft mistakes. He just seems to be that sort of like creeping in a little bit more to me.
Man, if you're a Josh Allen owner, when was it on a turnover when he's trying to make a tackle or someone's already tackled and then he put his shoulder out? I mean, you'd be absolutely having kittens at that point, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you can't take that instinct out of people. He's obviously got it, and he's a tough guy, and it's great to watch. But God, there's things he shouldn't be doing sometimes.
Yeah, but he
lowers the shoulder and helmet and that. Gosh.
Yeah, you watch him where he could just slide when he's only got the first down. He could just slide, protect himself, and he just fucking goes in.
He loves it though, doesn't he?
He just loves it.
If you watch the game, he's always having a chat afterwards. So he's just like that. A collision, he wins more. He comes out on top of most of them, but he's giving the defense a bit every single time.
Yeah. But again, if you've got him, you're playing him, aren't you? There's no point. So this backfield discussion might have been a bit different if the game wasn't moved to Detroit. So if anyone's just tuning in now, we covered it at the start. So Browns at the Bills is now in Detroit because of the thunder snow. So this backfield, Singletary's just kind of keeps plodding away with the kind of
he's established himself as a lead back, but they're a massively throw heavy team. He's never going to be an RB1 who's going to put the mega points up, but I think if you've got him, you play him, and he's the RB2 flex position, sort of, again, relatively safe. He's going to get that 10 to 15 touches. You're hoping that they get close to the end zone for a 1 or 2 yard run and he takes it, not Josh Allen. But yeah, you're playing him. I think, again, when you look at the rest of the Bills, you've got, Stephon Diggs, absolute stud. Gabe Davis had a good game last week and came back. Dawson Knox even had a decent game. Obviously, it was a great game. Lots of offense back and forth. So there's plenty to like in the Bills. You're not moving away from them just on the back of 2 defeats. Even in defeats, they're putting up good fantasy numbers, aren't they?
Yeah. So, a question from Jay Nice. Cheers, Jay. Churon Bai, what do you think about Kenny Pickett as a substitute? Now, I know what Barry's going to say, but I've got a little soft spot for Kenny Pickett.
Just because you like his hair, come on.
I don't know why I've got a soft spot for him, but I don't know. I've got a soft spot for him.
He's a good story, isn't he? He's a Pittsburgh guy, Pittsburgh College. Is his father from Pittsburgh, or something like that? He's a good story. He's not doing it from a fantasy perspective, and I think unless every other quarterback's being picked up, you ain't picking up Kenny Pickett for me.
Yeah, there must be some better options available. Jay Nice.
I think we've talked about, people like Tannehill who have gone, people like Marcus Mariota. These are guys who'll get you teens to 20 points, relatively safe, not massive upside, but can plug in for bye weeks.
Even Rodgers as well.
Yeah.
Mariota, Tannehill, Rodgers, all ones we take over Pickett. Even though I've got a soft spot for him. Jared
Goff, possibly. I think I'll be going for him ahead of
Goff as well.
Yeah,
I don't like Goff.
No, but what was his score last week? Only 14. I'd still be like I said. The only guy I'm taking Pickett ahead of is probably Baker.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, Kenny Pickett's got to be one of the lowest ones down there, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks. I got Heineke.
Heineke, yeah. Let's stick his stats up. He's one where I think he's kind of got a little bit benched at the start of the year, didn't he, for events, and he's come back and he's had some good. He's led the team quite well. Whether that's transpired into fantasy points, obviously not last week against the Eagles.
Tough matchup against the Eagles, wasn't it? But they won.
Yeah, but those Colts and Minnesota games again, they're at Houston.
Yeah, they're playing the Texans. Yeah,
I think Heineke's the play over
Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. Yeah.
Right, how many tabs have I got open? Jay, if you haven't subbed, if you could sub, we much appreciate it, mate. See if we can get over that 60 mark. Right, let me get back to me tabs. So Singletary, you're playing. Are you playing Singletary?
Yeah, of course you are.
Hines, you can't play yet.
No, he's not. James Cook again. He got a bit more touches, but I don't think he did anything with him. You can't trust him, can you, at the moment? If you've got him, you maybe benching him to stash him and see how it comes. If there comes an injury, he's going to maybe get in there. But yeah, he's not particularly fantasy relevant at the moment.
No.
I think Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox, again, tight ends are tricky to come by at the moment, aren't they? So Dawson Knox, if you pull his numbers up, Anth, had a good week last week, didn't he? 4 and 4 for how many yards? 4 and 4, 57 yards. Didn't get a touchdown, but tight ends are tricky to come by. Like say, if you haven't got Kelsey or Andrews, there's a raft of mid-range ones, and then if you haven't got any of them, you're playing the roulette game of if they get a touchdown, you get double figures. If they don't, you get 5 to 10.
Yeah. Knox out play, no bother. Onto the wide receiver core. Diggs. We don't really need to talk about Diggs. You're playing Diggs every day of the week. McKenzie, as much as I like McKenzie, this man here, Khalil Shakir, he's vulturing a couple of, not vulturing, but he's taking a couple of receptions away from him, 1 or 2 receptions a week away from him.
I think the performances
in that slot.
I think McKenzie's performances have pushed him well ahead of Shakir. Whether the difference in talent, I think McKenzie's in the spot to be that wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 3 on the Bills. Again, you're only probably playing that if you're quite desperate or you're in a deep league with flex spots, etc.
Yeah.
But I think Gabe Davis is that boom or bust, isn't he? He's a lovely week last week, but after 2 quite poor weeks. Although I think he had a lot of Sauce Gardner, didn't he, against the Jets when he got turned over. So again, easier games to come for him. Expect a bit more from him.
Yeah. So you're playing Gabe, you're playing Diggs, sitting McKenzie, sitting Shakir. Shakir, onto the Cleveland Browns.
So we've touched on a couple of these guys already. So Peoples-Jones we like, and I said Amari Cooper is a bit of a homer. All his touchdowns I think come in home games. But again, he's I think we said on the first show we did that he's a good player and probably was undervalued. Between the two of Peoples-Jones and Amari Cooper, I think they are pretty much the whole offense from a wide receiver perspective. And I think I was hoping to ask Blandy and hope he had some information on Njoku. Again, a player we like. He was meant to be in training last week, but didn't feature.
Missed practice yesterday. Let's see if. I
think they seemed to release some videos of him practicing the week before in an unlimited fashion, which made people think he was trending back, and then didn't come back. So I think you're getting a bit of sort of not strange, but misleading information out of Stefanski and the Browns on Njoku. So I don't think you can probably play him as we stand now, knowing his injury.
So he's tweeted 20 minutes ago.
All right. Direct to you or?
Yeah, direct to me, yeah. If you can't see that.
Oh, yeah, direct, yeah.
Yeah. I need to see y'all active in Detroit. Let's go.
He could just be cheerleading, though, couldn't he?
He could just be cheerleading, but let's see. Well,
So
want to keep an eye on anyway.
Yeah, if you've got him, you definitely don't want to be cutting him, keep him on your bench because he looks like he's near the way back. And Brian, he's had a decent game last week, but other than that, he hasn't done a lot.
Yeah, did you know you won an award, Brian?
Yeah, go on
then. Some college thing.
That was something that I brought up a few weeks ago. You had no idea about, wasn't it?
No, yeah.
But he's not lived up to any of that billing, or they've not given him the chance to live up to that billing. It's probably more accurate. They're a heavy run team, the Browns, aren't they? They've got Nick Chubb, who's absolute beast of a rusher. He is quite game script dependent though. He had a good touchdown return. What was his numbers last week? Last couple of weeks in games where they're getting beat heavily. They got shredded off the Dolphins didn't last week. So what did he do? 15 points, still 1 touchdown. It's not bad, but I think his touches were limited because they were so far behind in the game. So that's always the danger, I think, a little bit with it. You still played him because you've got him, and he's probably one of your best running backs. But he is reliant, and again against the Bills, they could easily get out of away from them in the first half.
Yeah, 69 XXXX life.
Is that a subscriber?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, commented last week. Appreciate that. Find your love here. I've already got enough love right where I am. But, well, thanks very much. 2 seconds. Hit this top off.
Cool. Oh, he's getting his bill. We're going to start the bill segment. Never mind at the end.
Barry, find your love here.
No, thank you.
Find your love here. Right.
What about Kareem Hunt? Have you had Kareem Hunt in the past or this season in any of the leagues?
Yeah, we talked about Kareem Hunt last week, didn't we? And it looks like it's game over for him there, isn't it?
Yeah, he wanted to wait and get his move. He's not getting the volume. Again, he was billed at the start of the season as being, a good sprinkling in, which he got in previous seasons. He's just not getting it.
Yeah.
So close to cutting him, I guess. Probably keep him on the bench to see what happens. Obviously, he's not going elsewhere. If Chubb goes down, he's absolutely, fire strain. So yeah, he's a bench stash really.
Next game. Vikings Cowboys. I've got a good feeling about this game.
Should be a good game, shouldn't it?
Shouldn't it? You've got to get excited about this game.
Both were in good games last week, weren't they? They're calling the Bills Vikings one of the games of the year. Cowboys Packers was a good game. It went overtime. Big lead swing at the end. Who do you want to start with? Firstly, who do you like in the game? If someone's giving you a free bet, who would you put it on?
Well, the Vikings 8-1, aren't they?
8-1.
The thing about Vikings, you've mentioned it in the chat sometimes, is when do we start believing that they can do it?
They're finding a way to win. They're not winning any games by any big scores. I think they've got a very low points differential. I think I see the stat that said it. Of 8-1 teams, they've got the second worst points differential since the Super Bowl era. So 60 odd years, which is quite remarkable. Obviously, easy to believe when they're winning by a point or two week on week. So I think it's the fact that they're only just getting over the line, coming behind late drives, that you think, well, next week they can't do that again. But they are. And they have got that good balance to the team with, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. They can go either way on run or attack you through the air.
I mean, Cowboys are coming in favourites, aren't they?
Yeah, again, I think I was a little bit surprised at that.
Yeah, but the Vikings at home as well.
It's in Minnesota, isn't it? So, yeah, it's a close game. I think for me it should be more of a pick-up game than a 3-point.
Yeah.
Again, if you're hot on your betting and you want to take the 3 points on a home team was 1.5 points. Sorry, you want to take a point or two on the team. It's virtually a pick 'em, but it might make a difference in a tight game again.
Yeah. Before we delve into this game, in terms of the players, question from Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. Hello. Need a flex full PPR. C. Watson, Pittman, Gabe Davis, or Najee Harris. I think it's...
Which one are you scratching off first?
Najee Harris, yeah. Najee Harris is gone, yeah. Watson, we have... Can he replicate what he did last week? Possibly, but not so sure. Pittman, let's put Pittman up. We haven't covered Pittman yet, have we?
No, we haven't, no.
Yeah.
He's got Matt Ryan back, which helps him. I think we think that's positive for him, don't we?
Yeah. We just covered Gabe. I'm leaning towards Gabe Davis myself.
Yeah, I think it's a decent enough matchup for him, isn't it, Gabe Davis? I think he's probably got the most fantasy points. He's probably the statistical pick. Again, looking at the matchups, where were the Colts at?
The Colts are at the Eagles.
Yeah, tricky one, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, but still, if the Colts are behind and have to sling it a bit, that suits him. And we know, again, it's a big difference on Ryan there, who's prepared to chuck it. He can chuck it whilst he's getting thrown on the floor, etc.
Yeah.
I think we're saying Gabe Davis would pick the close second and probably scratch the other two off.
Yeah. So Gabe Davis number 1 for me. I'd agree. Pittman
2, Watson 3, Harris 4.
Yeah.
And let us know, Eddie, how you get on. Come back on and we like to share the story. We want to see the success or the failure, don't we?
The concern we had with Watson, which we discussed before, was there's Lazard, there's Cobb come back, Tonyan maybe mixing things up a little.
You only had 4 catches last week, so you had 3 touchdowns and a monster playing some great flashes, but it's still only 4 catches.
Yeah. Gabe Davis for me, yeah. And you got Josh Allen coming out, proving people wrong again this week, I think. And
they might put a bit of a statement game on, after two defeats on the spin.
Yeah.
Got another question in there. Have you seen that one from Pick and Rick? Great name.
Pick and Rick. Yeah, thanks, Eddie, for the question. If you haven't subbed, please sub. Much appreciate it. Pick and Rick, Christian Watson or Chris Olave?
I like Olave. I do, and I think I would probably lean him.
Christian Watson's the buzz player for tonight, isn't he, so far?
Well, that's what we said. If you've spent a lot of fab on him because he's had 3 touchdowns and he was on the way as you bought him, what have you bought him for? You've bought him to play him. So you're probably going to chance your arm on it, ride him while he's hot. However, if you're looking on balance, I think Olave is the better player, the better fantasy perspective outcome. I think, again, the Saints have got a reasonably good matchup. I quite like the Saints to win this week. I'm trying to look on my sheet where they are.
The
Rams, aren't they? Playing the Rams,
yeah.
Who kind of lost Cup. We don't know if Stafford's fit.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it's a Olave for me.
Yeah, the thing is, Olave has proved it over multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Watson's done it over 1.
I think the Steelers game last week was a bit of a blip again. The whole team didn't perform. Dalton had a bit of a shocker. There's probably talk that they might go back to Jameis this week. I don't think that hurts Olave in the slightest. I think he's good under both QBs. Yeah. He's the main man there now, isn't he, with no Thomas? So yeah, it's quite a clear one for me that I think in in Olave.
Yeah, I'd go the same Olave. Yeah, he's similar to Eddie's comments there. I feel the same way. I want to see Watson be more reliable first. Yeah.
Just want to see again how the split works. With all of the the Lazard, and who else do we say? Randall Cobb's come back.
Yeah.
Need to see how that works out. If you've got better options, that in Olave, I think we're saying is one. And I think we're saying probably Pittman and Davis are probably a bit more established as well, aren't they? In their target share. But yeah, so who are we talking about first in the Cowboys Vikings?
We're going to start with the Vikings.
Did you tell me who you think's going to win?
I didn't. I will say the Vikings. I'm going to start believing.
You're getting on the bandwagon at 8-1.
I'm going to get on the bandwagon, yeah. I mean, again, there's no point talking about Justin Jefferson really in terms of do you start him? But look, what a
I'm gonna say sometimes you've just got to appreciate the quality, haven't you? And that was a performance last week. That there was that huge catch that I think he was helped by the fact the defender sort of give him a little bit of something to lean on, held the ball a little bit, and just give him a little bit of balance. I think still an unbelievable catch, but
yeah.
And the numbers are.
Cheers, Eddie. Eddie Phillips, hot off the press. Appreciate that, mate. Chiefs just placed McCall Hardman on AR. So
wow. Thanks for the update, Eddie. If you're angling for a job on the show, send your CV in. But
we knew we'd missed practice when we discussed them, and that was kind of like why Tony was going up our rankings a bit.
It's a blow for the Chiefs, I think, because he had that great game, didn't he, against the 49ers a couple of weeks ago. And again, it looked like he's always looked like he's got that potential to fill in for the Tyreek Hill role, that absolute raw speed. But that really helps Tony, doesn't it? So again, if you've got Kadarius Tony, we've got Ivan Tony play the wrong game. You've got Kadarius Tony. That's a big plus for you.
And it sounds like Juju's going to be out as well. So
yeah. And again, if you want to try and get him, I think he's probably at a low point now. Not a low point, but he's lower than he's going to perform in that final few games. Go for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Vikings. We don't talk about. There's no need to talk about studs. They're absolute. Again, there's that. We talked a couple of times about quality receivers against quality cornerbacks, which is always that great matchup to see just if you're watching the game. And Justin Jefferson's going to play against Trevon Diggs, you would think. Again, who's got some great numbers in the past and all that. Those huge interceptions last year. I still fancy Jefferson absolute burning.
Yeah, Jefferson's going to absolutely torture him. Just the way that Diggs plays. Diggs
very aggressive.
Very aggressive. Gives up a lot of yards, doesn't he? Just for them 1 or 2 interceptions.
Again, if you watch the Cowboys Packers game last week, CD landed an absolute number on Jair Alexander, didn't he? Did you see that or not? The sort of double, treble sort of feint, drop the shoulder, spit, and he left him for about 5 yards for a touchdown. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah. So we're playing Jefferson. I'll just cross Jefferson off.
Yeah.
Feeling.
I think we said no. I think we said no last week. His numbers are not bad. Again, it was in it. His numbers last week were good in a game where it was pretty offensively heavy. It was a tough, high-powered game with lots going on. I'm not sure it'll be the same this week, will it? Oh, it could be, I suppose. But I'm not banking on Thielen. But TJ Hawkinson's somebody I do like.
Yeah.
I think he's probably that third best receiver in the league now. You've got them, Kelsey and Andrews, and then a pack behind them. I think TJ Hawkinson, who's great at the Lions, I think he had one monster game, but he's a very good tight end, and I think he seems to have fitted in quite seamlessly at the Vikings, getting a good share. He hasn't had a touchdown yet, but you'd imagine that might just come with a bit of more time there and a bit, specific plays for him. But yeah, if he's getting double digits without a touchdown, pretty healthy, pretty good.
All you need to do is fall in 1 week and you're looking at 20 points, aren't you?
Titans are normally a go-to sort of place for red zone. I know with the athleticism and they'll be able to slip a little bit, without unnoticed. So yeah, Hawkinson's a real good tight end. I think if you've got him, you're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, Cousins in terms of quarterbacks, we mentioned before, he's kind of like that, sort of like steady floor.
Yeah, quite safe, isn't he?
Yeah.
The fact he's got Jefferson to throw it to helps.
Yeah.
He commands the ball. You don't have to be that accurate, and he's going to catch it.
Yeah. KJ Osborne, I haven't kept up with KJ the last couple of weeks. What's he on?
He's not someone you can really bank on.
4 receptions, yeah. Now he gets the odd 1 or 2, but it's no good major, is it? Let's cross him off. So, so playing Hawkinson, obviously, feeling maybe in a tight situation, maybe.
Yeah, I would like to think. I think the players that we've tipped up off waivers are better options than Thielen.
Yeah, like Campbell and Peoples-Jones.
Yeah. And again, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah. So on to the Cowboys then. What's the deal with Mr. Elliott?
What is the deal with Mr. Elliott? Yeah, big Zeke.
Limited at practice yesterday.
The only thing you can guarantee on is that the Cowboys will be saying he's going to play. So Jerry Jones will be on the radio every week saying Zeke's going to play, Zeke's going to play. That doesn't really correspond to how fit the guy is or whether he's going to play. So you've got to try and cut out all of that, especially early in the week, all that noise, and think, get near to game time, see what the injury designation is, see what it looks like the practice schedule's been, and then again, if you do own him, he's going to be quite difficult to bench if you know he's playing. Because for all we like Pollard better, he does get his share, Zeke.
Yeah,
but if he
doesn't play, if you're a Pollard only, you're fucking praying. You're praying. You're doing anything. You're dancing in the rain.
It didn't feel last week that he really lit the game up, but if you look at his numbers, they were very, very good.
Yeah,
and I think one of the concerns that I had, and the sort of the rumor mill, were that he can't handle the heavy workload. There was things about clips of him coming off on the sideline, blowing out his backside, where he got 22 touches in that game. He got 115 yards. He was in the end zone.
87% of snaps.
Yeah. So I think that probably puts that one to bed a little bit as a bit of a myth rather than a realistic. He can only do a 50-50 or 60-40 split. He can. So if you've got Pollard, you want Zeke to be out. I think they've made a comment saying it's not a factor, but I think it will be a factor. Cowboys play on Thanksgiving, which is next Thursday. They're playing Sunday, Thursday. So if you've got a player off injury, you've probably got to manage him somewhat. So yeah, I think Pollard, regardless, you're going to give him a go.
All right. So you're saying if Zeke is cleared to play, then they might just introduce him sort of like softly, sort of cover him for the following Thursday. You
would think so. You're not going to give him 80% share and then roll him out again 4 or 5 days later on a similar level. You would think it would, especially when you've got somebody like Pollard. It's not as if you're absolutely dependent on Zeke.
Yeah.
So you'd think he's definitely got his role, worst 50-50. But I think even when he gets less touches, he's still got those explosive players in him, hasn't he, Pollard?
Yeah. So yeah, again, if you've got Pollard, you're going to play Pollard, aren't you?
There was a player last week who came in, obviously with no Zeke, and when Pollard went off, Malik Davis. So again, a rookie. Peeled off some great runs. I think he averaged about 7 or 8 yards a carry on a short number of carries.
What's he called? Malik
Davis, Malik, I think. No heads up for you on that one, Anth, but
you probably have him already, do you? I can't find it. Oh, there he is.
No.
There he is.
No, I don't have him. He's not someone to necessarily bank on, but
just to mention, yeah.
Yeah, he just had, again, dynasty leagues, deep benches. Can you stash him? He's a rookie. He's obviously up against the two guys ahead of him, but he just looked good. 7.6 yards a carry.
Yeah. Blandy's just came into the pod there, but I don't know if he can hear us. Can you hear us, Blandy?
Can we get my Morse code or?
Yeah, Morse code.
Do we have to see what?
We can add him there. Look, we can add him just as a black screen.
Is he listening to the shipping report, and could he send some sort of message across the via that? He's probably thinking, what on earth are you talking?
Yeah, can you hear him?
Hello. I've got a problem with my camera.
Oh, that's probably a good thing.
We don't need to see you, Blandy.
Yeah,
we know
exactly,
what you look like.
Yeah, but I could hear you, you could hear me.
Well, you've joined us just at the right time because we're talking about Malik Davis. So fire away.
Right. Yeah, I saw his work. He'll be inactive this week, I imagine. It looks like Zeke's going to play. So
yeah. It was just a comment that he looked quite good in his little cameo role last week at 7.6 yards a carry.
Yeah, he did actually. He did look quite explosive. But I actually thought he played more than what he actually did when I actually went back and looked at it. He didn't actually play that much or that many percentage of the snaps, but I think it's just because the Cowboys ran so many plays. That's why it looked like he was getting quite a bit of playing time, but percentage-wise of the pie, it was actually quite small.
It's a difficult path for him to get any touches as well, isn't it, with two guys ahead of him?
Yeah.
Gallup,
because I think if while Zeke's injured, they said they wanted to restrict Pollard, but obviously it's easy when you win and to restrict Pollard. When you lose, and then obviously you play him alone.
Yeah.
If it was the other way around, if Pollard was to get injured, I imagine Zeke could literally just play 100% of the snaps, and they'd just run him into the ground.
Well, he might be crawl off the pitch with his. He doesn't look the fittest of blokes, does he?
Zeke, no.
Zeke, no, yeah. Zeke, he looks a bit heavy.
Yeah. Yes. I saw there was some clips on YouTube of his rookie season, and
yes,
fuck
he looked
me,
like
he was
Pollard.
Explosive,
Yeah.
Fucking hell, he was because now he's fat and he's slow and that, but in his his first couple of years, you remember what a real good player he was.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if you were designing a 1-2 punch at running back, you'd probably want a heavy pounder and then somebody who's a bit more wiry and a bit more pacey on the outside. So maybe, I don't know if there's any deliberateness in that, but they are a different type of back. But again, as we've both said before, you came on, Blandy, Pollard is the better back. I don't think people can dispute that.
Yeah.
It's just the situation is the man who calls the shots, not the manager, the owner, wants Zeke in the team. And the bad thing for fantasy owners is Jerry Jones will do an interview on every day of the week to say that Zeke's playing, even if he's not playing. Yeah. So it's difficult to work out what's going on.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But you're still playing Pollard this week, aren't you?
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about Schultz?
Yeah. So again, I had a little comment on Schultz and Dak. So Dak threw an interception last week, didn't he? And Schultz got the blame for it. If you watch the game, I think first interception they're looking for CD Lamb, and Schultz didn't run a deep enough route, and everyone got boxed together, and they picked it off, and he got absolutely hammered off CD Lamb and Prescott on the sideline, and walked off pitch on the sideline. Why didn't he run deep enough? He didn't clean out the space. And I thought, this could be interesting whether they go away from him a little bit and sort of punish him, as teams often do. But they didn't. He still got the volume, didn't he? He still seemed to be on the pitch and getting those targets. And again, in the tight end difficulties that people might have, he's definitely a guy if you've got him, you're starting.
I'm in a money league, and he was actually on waivers this week, and I had Waller, and obviously he's gone now. I don't think he's done a return. So I spent basically about 75% of my remaining fab budget to make sure I got Schultz, because it wouldn't surprise me, given what you said, how bad tight end is now. And then we've had a few more injuries. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up finishing between now and the end of the season, if he ended up finishing tight end 3, tight end 4 in scoring.
He was very hyped at the start of the season, wasn't he? Coming to draft season, he was very hyped, and to be fair to me, he's been injured. So you can't knock him too much for not delivering, but I think he's possibly been overhyped at that point. But he's
It was.
He's an absolute lock-in if you've got him, or you can get him.
Yeah. The reason why he was hyped as such was purely a volume player, because they'd lost Cooper, they hadn't really brought anybody else in, so it was a case of, well, he's probably going to see about 120 targets, something like that, in this Cowboys team, if he'd have stayed fit all year. And it doesn't matter whether you're a good tight end or whether you're an absolute garbage tight end. If you see 120 targets at the tight end position, you're going to finish at worst as a middling tight end one.
And he's in a what was a decent offense, decent quarterback. Cowboys do put up points. He's going to get some good situations, isn't he, to be in?
Yeah.
What about Gallup?
Round the goal line?
Just moving on. Sorry, cut across there, but what about
Gallup? Go on.
We sort of said a few weeks ago that don't play Gallup. You've got to wait. And he's not really done much, has he? If you scroll down Anth, in those last few weeks, he's not really justified anyone who's got him and wanted to play him.
No, he's still struggling with his injury.
He's always been a sort of a splash player type, hasn't he? He makes a big splash player. He's not making them. And again.
Yeah, that's purely injury related as well, I believe.
You think so? So again, if you've got him, it's one of them where you're probably looking elsewhere, isn't it? And some of the players we've already mentioned about pickups and low value players who are performing better than the perceived value.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Yeah.
And then CeeDee Lamb goes without saying, doesn't it?
Big fan of CeeDee Lamb myself. Big fan.
Next game is the Chiefs versus the Chargers. There we are.
Okay. I don't know if you saw, but ways of being on air, Mecole Hardman has been put on IR.
Oh, we know about this, Blandy. We get our information from
very good
people who tell us in the chat.
Yeah, Eddie Phillips told us in the chat. Cheers, Eddie.
Very good man.
We'll send you a Brucey bonus out.
Send you a sticker.
Anth, you're meant to be sort of keeping across these things, aren't you, as the technical controller, and you're getting direct messages off Njoku or whoever else you were getting direct messages off. I'm surprised Eddie beat you to the punch there. Must have had a bit of a signal drop out in your area.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, it must have been when Blandy was trying to get on. It just dropped out a bit.
It took up your bandwidth, did he?
Yeah. So the Chiefs heavy favourites. What's that? The Chargers +6 on the betting.
It's moving. Yeah, it moved down, didn't it? Obviously, there's been money for the Chargers. It's gone back up again, half a point. But
good game this. And I'm feeling a bit for the Chargers at the moment because I think they're a better team than they've got a positive record of 5-4, but I think they're a better team than that. They're really banged up, aren't they, at receiver? Even Herbert himself's banged up. Yet they still weren't far behind the 49ers last week. They're probably not going to beat the Chiefs. However, you think if they had a full strength, all systems go team, this would be a good chance for them to beat them. But they're just not there at the moment, which is just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just the typical Chargers. Always struggle with injury. Always struggle with injury every single year. It gets to the point where it can't just be unlucky. There's got to be something in your strength and conditioning department and stuff like that where you can't just be unlucky that many times in a row.
Must be the old 49ers one, is it?
The 49ers are another one, yeah.
Look at that West Coast. Too much time on the beach.
Let's get on to the players. We'll start with the Chargers. Austin Eckler again speaks for himself, doesn't it?
Yeah, his numbers are coming a lot from the passing game, aren't they? But when they've got nobody else and they're constantly under pressure, and like to go for it on big third downs and even fourth downs, he's that safe pair of hands that he gets a lot of those dump offs. So from a fantasy perspective, that's absolutely great. Running backs who catch the ball makes for good value, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is a question I was going to ask you. So he's getting 69% of the snaps. Who's getting the other 31?
It's now Isaiah Spiller, who is playing in front of Stoney Michel.
He's a rookie, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a fourth round rookie, I think.
Didn't we have a bet on him when he was getting drafted? I say we. Maybe I'm talking about myself.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I lost that bet.
I mean, Stoney Michel's obviously getting a little bit of snap time, but he's not getting much of the ball, is he?
No. Irrelevant.
He's probably just giving Eckler a breather as well, isn't it?
Yeah, neither of them matter unless Eckler gets injured.
No. Spiller's. If you've got Eckler, would you be looking at handcuffing with Spiller?
I don't have Eckler, but in a few spots I have picked up Spiller myself.
So you're crossing your fingers for the injury.
Just him. Yeah. Got to make the most of it if it comes along, haven't you?
Play the odds, yeah.
One thing I was surprised at. Well, I'm not sure I was surprised at. If you picked Herbert up in the draft at the start of the season, you're expecting better return than you've got from him this year. I mean,
he's injured though, isn't he? I think that's the
He's struggling without Mike Williams and Keenan Allen.
Is it his ribs that's his injury as well? Which I imagine is.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I think his numbers are. He's throwing a lot shallower. He's throwing a lot, not. But one, he hasn't got the players. Two, he's got banged up ribs. Yeah, I think they're
if you go back up, Anth. See, he got injured in that Chiefs game, eh? And then you can see the drop off after it in his scoring. Also, that does coincide with him losing Mike Williams as well. Keenan Allen was already gone, but that coincided with losing Mike Williams as well.
I think if I owned
what Herbert was good at last year, he would scramble, he would run a bit, and obviously he's picking up points that way. But because he's banged up, he's trying to protect himself, and he's not even bothering to do that.
I think if I owned Herbert, I'd be looking at having a decent second quarterback on my bench at this point.
Maybe Williams and Keenan Allen, I think, are expected to play this week.
This week?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I think they're expected to play. So neither of them are going to be 100%. But yeah, I would say things are starting to look a little bit rosy for the Chargers.
I thought it was going to be likely that Mike Williams was going to play because he was limited yesterday, as it says there. But one question I was going to ask you two was what was the story with Keenan Allen? It just seems to be a bit.
Yeah, I mean he's back practicing the same as Mike Williams. He's practicing in a limited fashion, but he's done this before and he's had setbacks with it. So it's still a very much wait and see with him. Even if I had Keenan Allen and he I wouldn't play him this week. I'd want to see him get through a game. And
even if he declared himself fit or was active, he's risky, isn't he? Yeah. I think it's
when these older wide receivers get hamstring injuries. It's not good, is it? Like Julio Jones when he's getting. It's like, did you see Julio Jones' touchdown last week?
Yeah, I think we had a chat about it, didn't we? Anth, to say the commentators called him a speed merchant. And I'm thinking, maybe if you're watching on an old copy from 5 years ago, he might be a speed merchant. I'm not sure he still is.
Huh? Looked like a tight end.
Yeah,
Literally looked like Gronk. Looked like Gronk.
But no, the point I was going to make
I'd want to see
difficult spot for the Chargers at the moment, aren't they? Because they're 5-4, the Chiefs are 7-2. They're probably not going to finish above the Chiefs in division, but they can still make the playoffs with a good record. And do you gamble and trying to win this game by rushing your star receivers back, or do you think, I'm better off having these guys back more fully fit, like say hamstrings, give them a bit more time to rest and recover, and try and win the games later in the season to make the playoffs, albeit not with home field advantage or whatever, but just get into the playoffs.
Just scroll down, Anth, will you? On Keenan Allen, just see the rest of the fixtures coming up. Okay, so they've got 2 other divisional games there. They've got Denver in week 18 and the Raiders in week 13. So you would, like you say, you would think they're probably looking at getting them 100% for that Raiders game. Because they know that they can't beat, they can't top the Chiefs in that division, but they can certainly beat out the other 2 teams.
Yeah, right, I mean, it was tipped as a hot division, but it's not. The Raiders and the Broncos haven't held their end up, have they? They've looked pretty damn poor.
And
the Chargers have managed to negotiate tough situations and still have a 5-4 record. So, they must feel themselves that get into the playoffs, get my players fit, and then I'm a live dog.
Yeah, and the NFC East was billed to be the worst division in football.
Yeah. Look at the record of that.
It's one of the best. I mean, it's brilliant how the NFL works year on year, right? Like, you go through the off season trying to analyze it all, and then you find out you know fuck all. Like.
Oh, we can guarantee that we know that much, Blandy. What we're saying on these fill-in receivers then for the Chargers? So I know you guys have quite like Palmer. Personally, I quite like DeAndre Carter. He looks like a safer pair of hands, a better catcher of the ball.
He's the only one with speed. They don't have any speed, even when they're all fit. Even when they're all fit, they've got no speed. Palmer's not fast. Keenan Allen's not fast. Mike Williams is not fast.
What happened to Guyton? He was a bit of a speed merchant, wasn't he? Where's he gone?
Tore his ACL.
Oh, well, there you go. But yeah, I think when I'm looking at these fill-in wide receivers, this guy seems to be the one who I think is the best option. For Chargers players, and again, his points been there 16-10 last couple of weeks. Again, if you're in a tough spot, I know we've mentioned a few players that we don't like. If you're really desperate in deep leagues, he's possibly someone who can try and play in that flex spot or deep wide receiver. Yeah, what's Palmer's numbers look like?
Last week was a bit disappointing.
Snap shares there, isn't it?
Yeah, and he come up with 7.4 fantasy points. Only 3 receptions off 8 targets. Expected a bit more. Blandy's just doing a bit for the Portuguese viewers.
Oh, is he translating? Is he? Yes. But neither Palmer or that we're not really champion, are we, Carter?
Nah, neither of them I'm getting excited about. I'm not confident in Palmer either, especially if Williams and Allen are coming back.
So I think we're saying really these, even if you've got Williams and Keenan Allen, tough, difficult matchup. Fitness is, even if the player is a question mark, you've got to really have a good look around what else you've got and weigh up your options here, I think. Rather than just say, I've got Keenan Allen, he's a great player, he's declared fit, I'll play him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it definitely works that way this game.
Yeah. Last one, Gerald Everett, tight end. Blandy's a big fan of Gerald Everett.
Yeah,
Did he go off injured?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he went off injured last week, but he's practiced.
And who was the rookie tight end that they brought in ahead of him or instead of him?
It was Trey McKitty. I think he's a 2 or 3 year player. So he's not a rookie.
He's not a rookie. He's just a bit of a
he's not.
Not relevant.
Yes, he's not relevant. That's the word.
Okay. Right, let's move on to the Chiefs then. Somehow we got to manage to stretch that Chargers out a bit there. Don't know how. So on the Chargers. Is this the end of Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yes.
I think he's done, isn't he?
Poor lad. I should have sold high in my Dynasty League, I think, but didn't.
Yeah, did you turn down some offers for him, did you? Or should you have just floated him about a bit?
I should have floated him about a bit. Whether I'd have got any bites is another matter.
Yeah. So Pacheco looks like he's going to take over the lead run game, doesn't he? But again, it's still going to be a little bit of a mixed in with McKinnon. I mean, CH is going to get some touches, but it's just going to be a little bit muddied in that backfield. I don't think he's ever going to immediately take, that bell cow position, is he?
No, the problem he has as well is that what you need of him, because he's not involved in the passing game and he's not seeing, the majority of the work. He sees a lot of the running work, but he's got nothing in the passing game. So you need him to score a touchdown. But the Chiefs don't run the ball inside the 10-yard line. They're passing because we've got Patrick Mahomes. So, he's a very low floor. He's a low floor, low ceiling kind of player, right? Personally, I think once we get through bye weeks, he's probably droppable. To be totally honest.
Yeah, I think we're kind of saying you don't really want to be involved with any of the Chiefs running backs, do you?
No, that's right. Yeah.
If you've got one, if you've got space on your bench, keep hold of them because one or two of those one might get injured or they might, McKinnon's doing quite well in the passing game. He's obviously that change back when they bring him on, they're going to pass it out of him. Pacheco is probably going to be the lead running back without really getting any volume or worthwhile touches because they don't want to run it. And CH is on the decline, so we don't want him. So, yeah, upshot, don't play any of them if you've got them, but maybe keep hold of them just to see if the picture changes. Again, we've done little bits and bobs on the other receivers at different points, but I think the big winner at the moment seems to be Kadarius Toney, doesn't he? With Hardman going IR, he had a good week last week. They're obviously trying to tailor the game to fit him in a bit more. The big question mark was always, is he fit? Can we get him on a pitch? Well, he's been on a pitch for 2 weeks. He's trending upwards. His competition's going down. There's a lot to like about him. I think again, if you've got him, are you playing him this week or you just keep him in for another week? Again, depends on your options. But I think if you've got him, he's a good player.
I have him and I'm playing him this week. I don't think there was ever a problem with the hamstrings, to be perfectly honest with you. I think
I'm not saying it was a hamstring. It was getting him on the pitch for whatever reason, whether personal, coach's fallout, attitude, whatever it is. You have to see him on a pitch before you can believe him. But what the point was, we've seen him on a pitch twice, and he's gone from just landing midweek to having a little bit of a touch and a run around to actually being really involved last week. And his competition.
His opportunities rose fivefold last week, and like you say, his competition's going down now. Travis Kelce had a quote today saying he has absolutely no idea how the Giants let him get out of the building.
Okay.
So again, I think we said earlier on, if you can try and if there's people in your league who might want to let him go, you could maybe make a few offers on him, see what chance you are. I think it's a good play at the moment before those numbers really get on the board.
Juju's out this week. He will be out.
Bad concussion.
He won't clear the. He won't clear the concussion protocol. He hasn't practiced enough to clear it, go through all the steps. So he'll be announced out tomorrow.
So how does that? We've obviously mentioned Tony, how it's good for him. Obviously, you've still got MVS there. Are you starting him this week?
If he had to, maybe.
Tricky to start, I think, isn't he?
If you don't start him this week, then
when are you going to start him?
When are you going to start him? Yeah.
Again, for me, these are the sort of players I don't really want to get involved in.
Yeah.
Don't want them.
Sure. Yes.
Too much boom or bust. Too low down, and there's more booms than busts. More busts than booms. Too low down a pecking order. Not for me.
Yeah. So then we're going to go on to the last game, which is the Bears at the Falcons. Which I believe Mr. Bland said was going to be the highest scoring of the week.
Yeah,
no, that's what the points total is. The points the highest of the week.
Has that now changed though? Has the Chiefs Chargers possibly overtaken that? I've got the Bears Falcons at 49, the Chiefs Chargers at 50. But it is a high scoring game. There's quite a lot of low scoring games this week, isn't there?
Yeah, you are correct. Last flip now. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm off. No, I think there's some level of interest in this, and I think again for me, the real sort of talking point at the moment is Justin Fields and the Bears, isn't it? You know, that this sort of chalk and cheese approach after 6 or 7 weeks of not utilising him, all of a sudden they thought we've got a really mobile quarterback. Let's try running him, and he's absolutely tearing it up, isn't he? Last 2 weeks.
Well, since the Patriots game.
He's had good numbers last 4 weeks. He's had 39 and 40 or 40 plus weeks the last couple of weeks. I mean,
yeah, he did. Yeah. But since that Patriots game, no other quarterback in the league has had more design runs than Justin Fields. I mean, even last week, the first play of the game was a design run, went for 40 odd yards. I think it was the third play of the game was another design run, went for 15 yards.
It's mystifying though that it's took him this long to find that out. This guy's been in the building for a year and a half.
Yeah, to be fair to this coaching staff, they inherited it from the previous one. What gets me is that Matt Nagy last year knew he was coaching for his career and preferred to start Andy Dalton over Justin Fields.
Yeah, strange, isn't it? I was gonna ask you a question, Anth.
Yeah, here we go.
But you have to knock the stats off so you can't cheat off the screen. Hang on. Go on. Has Justin Fields got more passing touchdowns or rushing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks?
Passing. So we got Mooney, Komet. I don't know. Komet's got a couple, hasn't he, the last couple of weeks?
4.
Receiving.
Correct.
You tried to trick me, didn't you?
Has he got more passing yards or rushing yards in the last
Rushing yards.
So he's got 325 rushing yards against 290 passing, and he's got 3 rushing touchdowns against 5 passing touchdowns.
Yes.
The sort of stats flip-flop to each other, but it just shows that, on both sides of the coin, he's putting up those mega numbers. And whether it's because, I think we touched on it, he's running so much and he's absolutely peeling off massive players that the defence are petrified. And then when he just throw it, he's got some at least very worst one-on-one receivers or even wide-open receivers. So it's just an absolute step change in the Bears. Okay, they didn't win last week against the Detroit Lions. I'm not quite sure how. I think the couple of bad plays didn't late on in the game that kind of cost them. But yeah, they're just a different team all of a sudden, aren't they?
Yeah. And as a Mooney owner, and I've been a Mooney owner for fucking years as well, But I was thinking, oh yes, the Bears are starting to turn the corner and all this, and there's supposedly wide receiver 1, and he's he's doing all right.
I think
He's doing all right.
He's turned the corner. He's had a touchdown now, hasn't he? Not last week, the week before. I think he's on the up. Like I said, because the team's on the up, because of that run situation opening up the pass play, he's definitely more playable now than he was earlier in the season. There's spreading it across a few different guys without anyone getting any real volume. Claypool's come in and he's not really running enough. I mean, Blandy will tell us he's not running enough routes, is he? He's not really getting enough time on a pitch. For someone who they gave a lot of capital for, he's not really doing a lot.
Yeah, so from his debut, everything dropped. All his usage rates dropped there, and it was a close game. Obviously, it was a game they ended up losing, so it's a close game. So I don't know whether it's going to be until after their bye week when they get the full 2 weeks properly to integrate him into that offense.
Which again looks like it might be 14, just a while away. Yeah, I think it's that classic. There's a classic sort of fantasy perspective. They've paid a lot of draft capital for him. The short on receiver. They've picked him up. They must want him. Let's get him and play him a fantasy perspective. And the answer is no, because he's not. The numbers don't lean that way. So if you've made the play for Claypool and got him, don't play him at the moment. Just sit on him for a bit.
Yeah.
Don't actually think he's that good.
Yeah.
There is that.
In terms of Mooney, are you playing Mooney this week?
I think he probably can because he's playing the Falcons, who
I think
they are the worst team in the league defensively against wide receivers. So I do think you can play Mooney. Yeah. You're probably hoping for a touchdown again, but I'd say you're probably going to get 10, 12 points without your touchdown. If he gets a touchdown, you'll have a good week.
Yeah.
Touchdown. Cole Kmet before.
Yeah.
He's got what's he got? 1 touchdowns there, 1, 2, 2, 5 over 3 weeks. Yeah, he's locked in at the moment. In a bad tight end group,
Yeah. I just need to check because he did miss practice yesterday, but I don't know if it was just a rester. I haven't seen anything for today.
You're unlikely to have a better option, I think. If you've got Cole Kmet, you probably don't have Andrews, Kelsey, or even Hawkinson or whatever. So you probably got him playing him. I think the backfield's a little bit want to talk about, isn't it? Because we've got this week that Khalil Herbert's got on IR, which again he was trending above Montgomery. We like to refer to him as Fat Dave.
Fat Dave, yeah.
Again, now Fat Dave's gonna. I know it's different coaching staff, but in previous times they've just hammered him. He's ineffective. He's got under 4 yards a carry this season, but he's gonna hog the share. I know they've got a guy, a 6th round pick from Tristan Ebner.
I'm sure you're just making these fucking names up, aren't you?
No. Tristan Ebner is a pre-season hero.
He's the only other running back on the roster, isn't he? So, I mean, he's not going to get a lot of touches, but he's like I say, if something does happen to Montgomery, he's in. No idea if he's any good. Can they address that in sort of picking someone off the street at Blandy, or is there just nobody around to come in at this point?
So what's the latest with Herbert then? So could return this season. Oh, so it looks like it's going to be.
He's on IR, so he's if you've got him, you probably cut him now.
Yeah.
I think dynasty wise, he's probably he's gonna edge up Montgomery over the longer term next year. Probably he's going to be the lead back.
Yeah, well, Montgomery's contract's up at the end of this year, so
they're not going to pay him either.
Just let him walk. I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah.
So on to the Falcons then. Patterson had a pretty shit week, didn't he, last week?
Yeah, but we said though at the start, didn't we? Said that is that because they've come off a short week and he's come back from injury. He looked good in that Chargers game. It was a washout game, short week. I think he's one to keep on the right side of still. probably very much playable for me this week.
Yeah, I've literally just accepted a trade for him in that league where I picked up Dalton Schultz. I had an abundance of good wide receivers, so I traded away Deontay Johnson for Cordero Patterson.
Oh, that must be with a heavy heart, was it, Blandy? He's one of your main men, isn't he, Deontay?
He is. He just hasn't been able to get. Like, I had CD Lamb and I had Christian McCaffrey, and I traded them away for Diggs and Jefferson. So I've got Diggs, Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I've got Ramondre Stevenson, one of my running backs. Jamal Williams is the other one. I've got Rashad White, so
I think so.
Pretty decent
good
team
move.
I'm building there.
The running backs was a bit of a mixed bag last week, wasn't it? I think they used 4 different running backs, with obviously none having particularly good numbers.
It's what they kind of do anyway.
Yeah, but I think Patterson is the lead, isn't he? I say that we raved about it last week. That way, he just ran over the defender. He's the man in those situations. They're gonna go to first, isn't he? He's definitely gonna get the first crack at it.
When they get to the goal line, he's the back that's going to get first shot at it, which is the most important thing, really.
Absolutely.
Against the Bears, who have traded away a lot of their defenders, or better defenders. You're going to get opportunities around the goal line. So,
yeah, Mariota's a player that we've touched on previous weeks. He's a quarterback who can drop in. So we had a question earlier about saying should I play someone like Kenny Pickett? You know, Mariota's a much better choice than him. Again, he's got that rushing option, hasn't he? You know, he's not exactly proficient with his throwing, but they're a run heavy team, and he gets his shot at the run as well, and he's pretty good at it. So I think he's always a player if you've got bye weeks and what have you to drop in.
Yeah, just don't watch the game. Just watch the box score. Don't watch the game.
Yeah, it's not exciting, is it? The old Falcons. But what about the 2 players that are again the head scratchers? Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Well, Kyle Pitts in the last 2 weeks has had 333 prayer yards. Not even you can't even call them air yards because they're literally just prayer yards.
Just thrown over his head.
Literally, yeah. Unfortunately, in one league, Pat Frymouth was on waivers, and I dropped Kyle Pitts for Pat Frymouth.
I was going to say he's he's probably not cuttable, but he's definitely would be on your bench if you know. I mean, I was never paying the draft capital for him anyway. On the back of 1 touchdown in his rookie season. If you've got him, again, you should be looking at other tight ends and benching him and playing another tight end for me.
Yeah, like only if someone like Frymouth, Dalton Schultz, someone like that's available, which is probably unlikely in most leagues.
But I'm reluctant to cut him in case somebody else gets the upside out of him. So I would probably
that's the problem because the upside's there.
He's a good player. Good player. Good. You know, he's a tight end who can catch the ball and get open, and he's got big size and everything you want of a tight end. It's the team. It's the situation. It's the scheming. It's quarterback. It's not panning out for him.
Yeah, it's quarterback. That's what it is. Quarterback. But they're just not on the same page.
Drake London.
London's the same. I mean, London's got 62 targets on the year, and that equates to a nearly just under 30% target share for the Falcons. That tells you how little that they're actually throwing the ball. Like when 62 targets is almost 30% of your passing volume. So on a per route, per target basis, he's superb. But the problem is there's just not enough of them, eh?
He's a good player. Again, in dynasties, he's in his rookie year. He's definitely one who's going to do you well in the future, you would think. But it's hard to play at the moment because of that boom or bust nature of him. But again, it's back to the roll of the dice. What have you got? If you're struggling and you're playing the Chicago Bears, you might want to play.
I'm guessing you can't play Zacchaeus or Bird.
No.
Let's cross them off.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Are we going to cover the? We're 1 hour 49 minutes in. I'm going to cover the FFOP league quickly, or are we just going to go on the bankers?
Okay.
No, cover the league if you want.
I'm covering the league, like, because
it's bunching up, isn't it? That league.
Yeah, but first things first. I believe.
Oh, you're not going to give yourself a clap, are you?
We got the highest score last week, Blandy.
Do we get a clap, do we?
He's off. Plaz's off. Plaz's gone for a wee. Yeah, we got a clap, mate. I don't know how we did it. It must have been because we had CD Lamb. What was that there?
What was what?
Was he blowing his nose there? Or was he farting?
Could have been both.
Question from VZ Bobo. Tony or Watson? Tony Bobo. We're going Tony. Definitely Tony.
Have you finished your victory lap now?
Did you go up there for a pump there? Because I heard it in the mic. He fucking blew me eardrums off.
It's probably just the door creaking.
Yeah, likely story.
Yeah, as much as we like Watson, Boo Boo, Juju's out, Hardman's out, so we're going for Tony.
Yep.
Definitely. Thanks for the question, though, Bill. I'd make sure you subscribe.
Make sure you subscribe. Yeah, but last week we had CD Lamb. CD Lamb was one who would pushed us to the top.
Yeah, CD Lamb and Pollard. So it's 50 odd points there. Nearly 60 probably. In the two of them.
But yeah, if you look at that table, I know these you guys are 8 and 2. There's a few of us at 6 and 4, and how many people are on 5 and 5?
Yeah.
Loads in that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them on 5 and 5.
I think, unfortunately, we've had to say goodbye to Hanley 75 and Guyette. I think they've bitten the dust now, haven't they?
Yeah, they're both still trying, though, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, keep going.
Yeah.
Why not? You're in it. But I think everybody from 10th upwards is in the mix, aren't they?
Yeah.
Trade deadline this week as well. You know, have we had a trade in the whole league?
Yeah, we've traded a couple of times. We have.
You've probably committed an absolute robbery, have you?
Trade history.
Oh, we traded for CD Lamb. I think we traded. There we go. Pittman and Eno Benjamin for CD Lamb.
Yeah, mate. If you hear the police, you know they're coming for you guys.
What do you mean?
Absolute robbery.
We tried to trade. We tried to trade Pat Fryermuth for Kyle Pitstone there.
Oh, gosh,
that one got knocked back.
There's loads of activity on the waivers, and I think actually, to be fair, the way the league's set up with only quite a shallow bench and quite deep teams, you can't stash players. So you've got to be quite ruthless and let people go, and then other people say, "Well, I need this player, and I'm prepared to wait a week or two." And there's a lot of activity on that. It's worked out quite well, and let's say the amount of teams still in the mix, 10 teams in it. I think it's a roll it again next season for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm not sure you guys are going to win that, despite being top of the league.
Do you think you might falter in there?
It takes 1 week, doesn't it?
That's what. Yeah. You don't get any prizes for
winning at the wrong time.
You don't get any prizes for winning the league, do you? It's about hitting form in the playoffs.
Fucking right. I see. Maverick must be taking notes off Neil, is he? Because he's picked Darius Slayton up, and then at the same time he's got Darius Slayton.
Yeah, indecision.
Gets the better of all of us at some point. We've all done it.
Right, the most important part of the week, which you make people wait 2 hours for, is the
Nobody's waiting 2 hours.
is the bankers of the week.
Which is a tricky old week this week, isn't
We
it?
haven't discussed this, Barry. So I don't know where you're going.
Wow,
Yeah, but I would agree.
I'm making it go along, bloody. You know that.
Ugly. I think it's a bit ugly this week.
So yeah, I think when I looked at it, right, I'm going to go against the Rams. I don't care who they're playing, but I want to go against the Rams. So I'm looking at the Saints. The 3.5 on the handicap, which doesn't. I'd love them to be 2.5. But the Saints are at home. I think they are improving it, especially if they've been off the Red Rifle and bring in Jameis. So
the Red Rifle starts.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not doing me any favours on a 3.5. Then I'm not touching the Rams, obviously. The unders maybe might be the shout, but it's 39. So that's, I don't know. I'm
10 points too high. That
I would say that the unders might be the play on that game. I think I want to have a slice of the Eagles at -7 against the Colts. Hope I know it's away from home. -7 is a lot of points, but we don't like the Colts particularly very much, and I think the Eagles need to bounce back, don't they? Is AJ Brown fit? If he is,
yeah.
If he is, I'm going to probably take the Eagles. Again, I'd love it to be 6.5 and not 7, but I think I'm going to take the Eagles.
What's causing that price to come in?
The results last week, so the Colts winning and them losing. I think this is my strongest bet of the week. I think it's a perfect bounce back spot for the Eagles here. It's the biggest O-line D-line mismatch of the week, where you've got the Eagles 5th in adjusted sack rate, and the Colts are 4th in adjusted sack rate given up. So Zach Ryan will definitely be living up to his name this week.
Get paid handsomely, that O-line, Blandy.
Yeah. Well, certainly the guard does. Christ, what's he called? Can't remember his name now. Scroll down, Anth. Quentin Nelson. That's him.
Yeah.
I think he's the highest paid guard in the league. But no, this is a big mismatch, that D line against the O line. And now, obviously, in the last 2 days, they've signed Lyndall Davis and Linval Joseph, and then today they've just signed Ndamukong Suh as well.
Oh, okay.
To make up for Jordan, because the last few weeks have been ran over, haven't they? Obviously, they couldn't get off the field against the Commanders because since week 8, when Jordan Davis went on IR with his injury, they've been run over quite easily. So they've signed those two basically to prevent that from happening. So it's going to be a big task for them to come in this week straight away and play full snap shares, but they'll be able to rotate the pairing in obvious run situations to try and slow the run game down. But yeah, I think just a perfect bounce back spot. Obviously, the Colts had a good win last week, but I think that was probably more to do with the Raiders than what it was the Colts, and the Eagles will be looking to get back on track.
Yeah, so I think we're agreed with. We'll take the Eagles, won't we?
Yeah.
And I think my second one, like I say, I'm looking at the Saints. I'd look at the Broncos only because they're playing the Raiders. And again, if in doubt, I'll probably take the Chiefs. So my pick's going to be Eagles and the Chiefs. Two away from home, which I don't particularly like, but I think that Chargers in that tricky spot where they banged up the rushing players back. I'm going to go for that.
Yeah, the Eagles are mine, and then the Bears +3 against the Falcons. Like we've seen, Justin Fields when they've started calling these design runs for him, they're putting up well over 30 points a game. I don't think the Falcons will be able to keep up with them. So I will take the Bears getting points.
Do you think 49 is quite high for that line, Blandy, given how run heavy both teams are going to be?
No, because both defenses are absolutely garbage, and both rushing games are very efficient. Yeah.
Hello, Kevin. Nice of you to join us. 1 hour and 59 minutes in.
Yeah, it's just catching the last 10 seconds or so. We'll see you next week.
What we thinking? Elijah Moore out the bye week.
It's got to get better, and it has to. Corey Davis hasn't practiced, so he's not going to play. Even coming out the bye week, he hasn't been able to practice. So
right.
Corey Davis isn't going to play.
He's one possibly.
They've punished him. They've punished Elijah Moore enough now, to the point where go away, come back after the bye week, and we'll get you back involved again. I mean, they have to, don't they?
Yeah, I think Corey Davis is maybe one of these ones you want to keep an eye on if he's available. If he's being put to waivers, if he comes back, pick up. But yeah, tricky with that Jets wide receivers, isn't it? He's a good player, Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
We definitely like him.
Yeah, it's just it's personal issues as to why he's been uninvolved.
Yeah, and again, they've got to bring him back. They're not going to let him go because he's too good a player for somebody else to get. So they've got to bring him back in. And how do they bring him back in? You give him some targets and give him some love and give him some receptions. So if it's not this week, it'll be soon.
Yeah. If for nothing else, they need to get the better players on the pitch for Zach Wilson's development as well.
If you missed it, Kev Hamilton, Blandy's banter of the weeks are Eagles and the Bears. Bronco Barry's is the Saints and the Chiefs.
I was going the Eagles and the Chiefs actually.
Eagles and the Chiefs.
Change my mind.
So we've got two Eagles, which means it's
last week we both were both on the Titans minus 2.5, and that one cashed.
Covered it lovely. What about yourself, Anth? Where's you like a little touchdown bet, don't you? Who you eyeing up early doors this week for your touchdowns?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You put me on a spot. I think I didn't prep for it.
It's the same question every week, like, you know what I mean? You are the host.
Yeah.
It's the only thing you get asked.
I don't know. I'll have to have a look. I'll go AJ Brown anytime.
Yeah.
If he's going to play. I will go Hawkinson for the Vikings anytime.
Okay.
That's right. He's down. AJ Brown, Hawkinson. And then I will also go to finish it off. Hang on, I'm just looking at the fixtures. Hold on.
I'm holding.
Is Mark Andrews back, Blandy? Is he on mute?
Question is he's not definitively back. You would hope he was back, but I don't know if there's been enough good news to make it a banker.
He was limited yesterday, but then he wasn't seen at the start of practice today. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he wasn't at practice.
I'm going to go Ramondre.
Oh, big Ramondre, Poncho on him.
So AJ Brown, Hawkinson, and Ramondre anytime. Okay.
Lump on, lose your money.
Lump on, lose your money, yeah. £5.
Enjoy the ride.
Kevin Wake, first question. Kevin Wake has figured out how to do a question.
He's been trying for 7 weeks and he's in. Well done, Kev. I'd love to try it.
Barry, you need some kip. Thanks for saving your banter for the weekend.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what it means. I've brought out my best banter tonight. I've got nothing left. I'll be going back to the well for next week.
So you won't be you won't be seeing the games this weekend, are you, Barry?
I'm back on Sunday night. Back on Sunday.
Oh yeah, be fresh as a daisy from a weekend in Munich, won't you?
I'm off work on a Monday, so I'll sleep through that. Yeah, I'll just come in next week absolutely blind and not know what's happened.
Oh.
Kevin Hamilton, any sleepers of the week? A player each.
Right.
Mine is Campbell for the Colts.
Yeah, mine's Skowronek for the Rams.
Oh, I'm not spelling his name again.
Just put SK in.
I'll go Isaiah Hodgins for the New York Football Giants.
All right, yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
And if you get any time touchdown treble on M3, it pays 1.5 million.
Oh, what do you think about his haircut, Baz?
I tell you what, it's tasty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe he might not have had it finished off there. He might just have the sides done first, just come back next week to the top.
So Skowronek.
Well, he was probably halfway through being cut by the Bills to go to the Giants when he was getting his haircut. That's why it's only half done.
Is it a day ball pull-in, is it, Blandy?
Yeah. So he's been with the Bills for a couple of years, always kicking around in the background, and they waived him, and the Giants picked him up, took him there. I think it was the week before the bye that they claimed him, or during the bye week that they claimed him. So I stashed him in a couple of dynasty leagues, just thinking, it's a desperate situation at wide receiver in New York. Eh? So anyway, came in last week. He didn't start. Kenny Golladay got the start, dropped a pass on a slant route, and was never seen again. They benched him, and then after that, Hodgins was a full-time player. So just interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, they play Detroit this week, who are absolutely garbage. I wouldn't be surprised if he's worked into a bigger role this week.
Fair one, yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Any more questions? Come on, I've got a couple more questions before I go to sleep.
I'm already asleep.
I've just got on now. I didn't. Fresh as a daisy. Here we go.
Dynasty, where's Blandy from?
Well, he's the Portuguese speaker in the group, isn't he? He's doing the Brazilian segment.
Yep. Yeah, we speak a little bit of pork and cheese.
I don't think there's going to be any more fantasy questions here.
No, I think there might be some other questions.
And Bo needs some sleep before his full weekend on the drink.
No, just a couple of sherbets shandy to me this week.
Is this in case your missus watches this back?
No.
She won't make it this far through, man.
Nobody's going to be watching this back at 2 hours and 8 minutes. No chance.
Did you reply to Hot Girls for You in the chat, Anth, or not?
Yeah, I did.
They're one of our best subscribers, to be fair.
Yeah. Find your love here.
Yeah, I did, mate.
Very nice.
Yeah, but I think we'll end it there. So hopefully next week, Blandy, you can join from the start.
I will endeavour to, yes. I'll try my best.
Now you figured it
out. A few
out.
technical issues to start with. Yeah.
Hack in that control room, or offer him a bit of your fillet steak, and he might get your bandwidth opened up.
Fucking murder. Yeah, I think it was something to do with the camera. So
was it?
We'll see. Yeah, I think so. You'll have to find a nice picture of me to pop in.
Oh, that's over there. There's a challenge. We'll have a layover for Blandy for next week. Perfect.
Yeah, he's got a few. He's got a few, so he can knock something up. One on the board probably.
Just to end the show, the lads weren't on at the start, so at the start I made like we discussed the weather at the Bills game.
Yeah. The inside information we're getting on the Bills game.
Very good. I like that, lads. That's quality.
We were the first ones to break that the Bills have been moved to Detroit because we had inside information, although we don't have any weather forecast for Detroit, unfortunately.
Got it from our lad at the ITV.
I'm very much younger.
The dome in Detroit.
I'm very much younger brother.
Our lad.
A more attractive one as well.
I'll get a picture before we go. Thanks anyone who's made it this far. Kevin Hamilton, please like, share, subscribe. Kevin Wake, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button.
He won't know how to do that. Come on.
Ask Ryan. Ryan will tell him.
Ryan will sort you out, mate. But anyway, have a nice night. Have a nice trip, lads. Come back home safe and sound on Sunday.
We'll do. Hopefully get back for the late slate.
Yeah, you'd be asleep.
Yeah, like you'd be still up to watch out as well. Yeah, exactly.
Parmore on a late slate. What's not like?
Right, see you later. Have a nice time at work, Kev Hamilton.
Keep grafting.
See you, mate. See you later.